Yes, good afternoon, people. Welcome back to the channel. 12th man is back. Guna to Guna is back. And to talk all things Arsenal with me is a good friend of mine and a good friend of the channel, Mr. Chris Hudson. Chris, it's been a while, mate. How are you, buddy?
Not bad, Dan, but I could be better with the Arsenal, but say la vie. Nothing
Say la vie.
changes. Buy a new player, gets injured. One of the usual suspects of injury is injured again. Jesus. Anyway, I'll let you lead and I'll finish then.
Oh, I mean, I've got to say, my first question to you was, it's been probably 2 or 3 weeks since we've spoken on a podcast, definitely through messages here and there. We've spoken to each other, but I want you to sum up this transfer window for me, because I'm hearing fans saying it's 7s and 8s. I'm hearing fans saying it's 4s and 5s. So I want to know where Chris Hudson's at, mate, and what you thought of the window.
Where am I? I think we're weaker because Mourinho. I mean, to me, that's a massive blow. That's upset me more than Declan Rice getting sent off, actually, because he was bought mainly to cover Declan Rice. We got these horrendous fixtures coming up, and we're sweating because you got Partey gone off with Ghana. So he's going to play 2 games for Ghana, come back straight to a North London derby, Champions League, and Man City. He won't cope. So there's another injury waiting to happen. The squad ain't good enough. The defence is okay, but the midfield really worries me. And thank God we got Sterling at the end, because if we hadn't, can you imagine? Say if Havertz took and not playing for Germany, so we'd be down to the bare bones. So I'm giving it 5, Dan, actually.
Well, I'm with you. I can't give it a very high. I can't believe people are giving it 8 out of 10 windows. I mean, it's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned. Let me tell you where I'm at in a nutshell, because a lot of people on this channel will know my thoughts for obvious reasons. I like getting you on because you say how it is, but you don't go over the top with it and lose your head. And I like that, Chris, because I sometimes do, right? So when I look at it, I'll tell you this. This is where I'm at. I actually don't mind the players that have left the club. Right, I don't mind that Eddie Nketiah's been sold and Reece Nelson's been sold. I didn't mind Fabio Vieira going on loan because I felt personally like it was not quite his league suited to him. I didn't actually mind Emil Smith-Rowe going, because although it's frustrating and sentimental value does come into play, I think when you play 600 minutes in nearly 3 seasons, it's time for you to go and get first team football. What's frustrated me is we haven't replaced everybody. So you can sell Reece Nelson and you can bring in Raheem Sterling. Fine by me. Nothing wrong with that. You can sell Smith-Rowe, you bring in Mourinho. All good. Fine by me. Yeah, frustrated that he got injured, but that's not our fault. It's a bit like Timber, same old story. But we haven't replaced Fabio Vieira or Eddie Nketiah. Now, people will say that Ethan Nwaneri has come in to replace Fabio Vieira, but you could probably argue that is a Smith-Rowe replacement if he's coming from the Hale end. I think we needed a number 8 on top of what we already had. So the Marino one isn't really replacing anybody, in my opinion. It's adding quality to the first team. So we basically allowed for our transfer window to go by without replacing Eddie Nketiah or Fabio Vieira, which means now there's huge pressure on Havertz and Ødegaard. And I have to say it, Jesus, a player who's always injured, that we're relying on not getting injured. On top of that, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. Thomas Partey can't get injured. At the moment, he can't, with Rice out. So I think we're short in maybe at least 2 positions, Chris. That's where I'm at.
Well, the thing is, it's all right making Nathan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly part of the squad, but he did say, Arteta, the other week when he was asked about, are you bringing in more players? He said, I've got to give space for some of the players coming from the academy. So if you're saying that, you can't be doing that as lip service. So what you're telling me is, I know people think, they are part of the squad. So if they are part of the squad, I expect to see them playing. And people say to me, oh, I know it was a different era. You can't play Nwaneri in a North London derby, because of his age. But, I'd like to remind people, Liam Brady made his second appearance for Arsenal at 17 in the North London derby. It might be a case of sink or swim, Dan. with these boys, and they might have to play because they are part of. You can't say they are part of my squad and not play them.
Well, Fabregas played at 16 and 17 as well, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, so he's saying they are part of my squad. So basically, in that case, they're going to have to play. But I'm just fed up. I don't like to be personal with footballers, but pre-season, Arteta said, "Oh, Jesus has come back. I've looked into his eyes. He's lost a bit of weight. He's looked sharp in training." Bang! We haven't seen him since Wolves, and there's no guarantee he's going to be fit after the break. I mean, what's going on? And then you say to me, "I would have rather sold him to Saudi and kept Smith Rowe." I don't want to be dependent on players that you can't depend on.
Well, the problem we
Because,
got now is we're going to have to rely on the players that have been injured for the last few years. Zinchenko and
well,
Tomiyasu are another two. I mean, Tomiyasu, where's he? We were told he missed
yeah,
pre-season. He'll be ready for Wolves. Not seen him. Don't know where he is. Arteta says he's still not ready. So we're relying
and
on Tomiyasu, Partey, and Jesus, who are always injured.
and then obviously we got this bloody international break. Interlull or waste of time. You're sweating. Can you imagine if we get any knocks? And then what really pisses me off even more, I see Foden withdraw, Watkins is withdrawn, Palmer's withdrawn. Why don't we ever? When's the last time we withdrew a player from international duty? Can you remember? I can't.
This is the time we have to do it. I'm sorry.
But we haven't. And then, like Declan Rice, he hasn't looked, especially the Euros, England flogged him to death. He hasn't looked right since he come back, has he? So
he played 62 games last year at Declan Rice. 62 games.
And I don't know if you noticed, Man City, the players that got to the later stages of the Euros haven't been playing for them. They've been coming on with 20 minutes ago here. Carl Walker hasn't been playing.
No. John Stones.
Aki hasn't been playing. So you understand, we just don't learn. And then with all these players withdrawing from the internationals, I've got an horrible feeling that Saka will play both games. When Saka really needs I say he needs a rest, but I think he's right. He's something else. I think he's kryptonite. But I think Rice, there's one in a perverse sort of way. Him getting seen enough will give him a bit of a rest. But we could have done without it when we're playing Man City, Atlanta, and Tottenham.
The Declan Rice situation for me, I don't want to go into the red card again because I've done enough of that this weekend and I'm tired of it.
But we got to go into it because I don't know if you've seen on Twitter today, 2021, a replica decision of a Swansea player and Dermot Gallagher. It's all over Twitter. Dermot Gallagher says the same thing with Veltman. Oh, he should have been given a red. And 3 years later, he's saying, no, it's all Declan Rice's fault. I'm fed up with Arsenal. Yeah, the Luton Swansea incident.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then why is Arsenal Football Club always the end? Ridiculous. And why are we always on the end of decisions that you'll never see anywhere in planet football? The Martinelli one, there's loads, isn't there, Dan? And you'll never ever see that decision. I bet you any money you won't. Yeah, you won't see that ever again anywhere on planet football.
Well, I remember Martinelli getting sent off for 2 yellow cards within seconds, and then I remember Tomiyasu getting sent off last season. I think it was for the time wasting, the throwing incident. Absolute joke that was. And then obviously we've got this at the weekend. Like that Dermot Gallagher, by the way. Let me tell you this. Do you remember in COVID, David Luiz at Wolves is running back, defending, and he's clipped someone's ankles, right? And he's given a red card and a penalty away. That same referee, Dermot Gallagher, who said, yeah, it's a tangling of legs, it's a red card, there's nothing much that he can do about it. Unfortunately, although he didn't know nothing about him, he's fouled him. 2 seasons ago, we play Southampton and Jesus gets fouled in the box. This same referee, Dermot Gallagher, comes out on Sky Sports News and says, it's just a tangling of legs, nothing more. No, nothing should be done. So this geezer is a hypocrite and he's inconsistent.
Well, he's more than that, Dan. I like to remind people he was a referee when Sunderland played Arsenal and Dan Smith finished Diar's career.
Oh. And that did finish his career because he couldn't get fit after that. Oh, I've lost you, mate. You back? Are you
Yeah,
back,
sorry.
Chris?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lost the
Dermot
Wi-Fi, that
Berger
was
was
all.
the referee.
Well, there you go.
He was the
That's
ref
all
of
you need
that
to
game.
know about it. He's the referee. It's just a joke, mate. The guy is awful. And, you know, you're getting people like that, prats like him on Sky Sports coming out and giving expert opinions. I don't give a damn about his expert opinions. Mike Riley's up in the, you know, another one. Another one at Old Trafford. We all know that Rooney dived in the 49th game. That's another prat. Howard Webb comes out, sticks up for his mates. Mike Dean's on Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, giving expert opinions. All these givers give. I can think in my era. You go back further than me. I can only think of about 2 or 3 referees that were half decent. If I'm honest with you, in the referee, Jeff Winter was a half decent referee. I thought. Kalina was an absolute legend of a referee, but he was European. Other than that, I'm struggling, Chris. We've had some shockers
Yeah.
over the year officiating.
Same. That, I mean, people who sit next to me are usually quite mild-mannered people, but a lot they all lost it Saturday. I say that's got to be. I've been going over the Arsenal since 67, 68. That's up there, one of the worst refereeing performances I've ever seen. Just forget about that. Look at all the other incidents that went on in that match.
Shocking.
Yeah, you know.
What was frustrating though is the whole of the weekend after that. Like take away the if they're saying that is a red card, or a yellow card, sorry, I should say, then cool. Okay, if that's the law and he has to give him a yellow card, no worries. Let me just read out what else happened this weekend. Kulusevski, Mark Gehi, Kukurea, Porro, Joe Linton, Palmer, Bruno Guimaraes, and Dallo, the whole of that weekend, threw the ball away, chucked the ball away, or kicked the ball away, and didn't receive anything. 3 of them, Joe Linton, Palmer, and Bruno G, were already on a yellow card like Rice. So how can this Chris Kavanagh say that it's letter of the law when his mates in all the other games aren't doing it? It's so bizarre. Like, I don't want to start crying about this because I've gone on about this weekend about that. Is not the reason for me why we should have been 2 or 3-0 up after that incident.
Yeah, right there.
We won the game, right? So that's not the reason why we dropped points. But the referee and the officiating is absolutely abysmal in this country, mate. Shambles.
I mean, talking about missed chances. I mean, that one at the end. You know when Havertz went down the wing and hit it across, and Saka just couldn't get his foot. I'll tell you what, I was thinking if that was Gabby Jesus, that would have been a goal because he scored. That's one of his trademark finishes, you know that. But he's nowhere to be seen, is he?
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at this. Dan gets extra cockney when he talks to Chris. I love that. You're making me extra cockney, mate. That's what you're doing. Listen, I will say, like that game, the Declan Rice incident, now that he's out, that puts for me a massive, massive decision for Mikel Arteta against Spurs. So I don't know what you would do against Spurs, Chris. I'd love to know.
Timber. I put Timber in midfield. He's played there for Ajax. He's played there for Holland. And I bring Calafiori at left back. And I would give and I play Raheem Sterling up front.
Interesting. So what would your team be then? So say that again. So you'd have obviously
I'd have Raya, Ben White, Calafiori, Gabriel Saliba, Timber in midfield, Odegaard, Saka, Havertz, and what's his name up front? Sterling.
Yeah, it's interesting for me. He's got a few options in midfield, right? He can either play Jorginho and Partey in a double pivot and put Odegaard in front. He can put Partey as remaining in the 6 and play Havertz and Odegaard like he has done before. I really don't want that to happen, but I fear that might happen. And then he can play Trossard through the middle with Martinelli and Saka, or like you say, Raheem Sterling starting. He's got a few options, but the one you say there with Jurriën Timber, I really like him, by the way. I think he's a really good player, Timber. Yeah. I don't know that he's been outstanding at left back like I thought he would be, though. I think he's been all right, if I'm honest with you. But this Calafiori, I thought he was kind of come in at the left back, but at the moment, people are saying they think he's just going to be a backup and he's just going to be used as and when. Surely he's going to be the left back, right?
No, he's not a backup for me. He's a first choice left back, Dan.
That's what I think.
And I'll tell you something. That tackle he put in, I know he got to get a car for it. It was wonderful when he took the Brighton player out in the last couple of minutes in the middle of the park. He'd be fantastic in the North London derby. I do worry he could get sent off, but that's another story. No, Calafiori is your first choice left back. I refuse to believe he's not.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Timber, he- he's better and he's miles better than Timber at left back. Timber to me is someone who can play right back, he can play midfield, he can play anywhere. He's a utility player, but he's not my first choice left back. Then
No, no, he has played there the last couple of games, Timber. Obviously, Arteta's fancied him ahead of Calafiori. Maybe he's just letting Calafiori settle in. It's such a shame
yeah,
Marino's out as well, because I really thought Calafiori and Marino both be able to play. It's so gutting, that really is. And a fractured shoulder, by the way. I spoke to Keown at the weekend. I was saying to the guys on here, and he said that 4 months he was out for when he had that. It's the worst injury he's ever had.
well, they reckon he'll be back. Well, that's Sammy Mocker, I think, writes for the Mail. He's got good contacts at the Arsenal. They're talking to be back in the next international break, so I hope he's right. That's October time. So because we don't know how severe the injury is, because Arsenal haven't told us, have they?
No, no. Unfortunately, they say 2 months, but what does that mean? I mean, that means he's going to be back at some point in October. Like, we're going to need him. There's so many fixtures. Before
We
we go
need
into the excuse me, fixtures more, you've mentioned him already. Raheem Sterling was our other signing. What do you make of that, Chris?
I quite like it because I think he's got a point to prove. When he played for Man City, him and Arteta had a good. I remember reading that Raheem Sterling years ago said he stayed behind every afternoon with 1-to-1 with Arteta. So I think I'm hoping that they'll be able to get back to that level, and I think he'll be a good player for us. He's got something to prove, Dan. He's hungry, isn't he? He's been treated like a bit of dirt by Chelsea. Let's face it.
He has.
So
He
I'm
really
hoping
has.
he'll come to the Arsenal, and I think Martinelli just ain't doing it, and Trossard wide left doesn't work. He doesn't do it. He's all right when he comes on, but when you give him that 90 minutes, he don't seem. I like Trossard more of a false nine. I think he's wasted that. It's the left on the left doing nothing. Trossard.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of with you on with this left hand side, and I wanted to ask you about that and segue into it after the Sterling thing, because the left hand side does still concern me. Raheem Sterling, I think the positives are, like you say, he's got a point to prove to Chelsea because they've treated him badly. I still think he's got a point to prove to Man City that they shouldn't have got rid of him at 29 years old, who can still offer a lot. And I also think he's worked with Arteta so much over the years. He believes that Mikel Arteta is the reason that he was so good that year. So that for
That's
me has
right.
got to be positives. Do you know what I mean? It has to be positives. And the other positive, Chris, he can play across the front three, Raheem Sterling, you know. So we're in a position where you can put him right, left, or central, whether he can believe he can play in a false nine or if you want to play him off the striker. The other good thing is he can actually win us quite a lot. Someone's put in the comments here, where is it? I feel like Sterling can hit 20 assists this season. He'll also win us many penalties. I believe in him. He actually does win quite a lot of fouls, quite a lot of penalties. He is one of those players who gets kicked a lot. He's quite clever in how he's done it. And I think people forget how much he's won in the game, Chris, as well. He's an experienced lad, ain't he?
Yeah, he might have got penalties everywhere else, but he's playing for Arsenal now, Dan, so he won't get nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
And now he's got that little gun. You can forget about your penalties.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, he's got the gun on his shirt now, so he won't get him anymore. No, listen, I will say I didn't mind that signing. It was what deflated me at the end of the window was the fact that we didn't bring in a striker and an Erdegaard cover. That was what frustrated me. I feel we were 2 points, maybe an Eze and a Gyökeres away from having a very good summer window. Whether it be Tony, whoever it was that you wanted to bring in up top. So let me ask you before I come to the fixtures on our left hand side. A striker at Arsenal. Did you want one? Do you think we still need one? And do you think we'll regret that mistake?
Did we need one? Yes. Will we regret it? Possibly. But I just think it's really weird that Ivan Tony's situation. So you got us, you got Tottenham, who went for Solanke over him, and you got Man United, and none of us went for him. Which don't you think I find that strange?
So
So
weird,
there's obviously something. There's something in the football world that we don't know about.
I agree. I agree. For him to go over to Saudi ahead of Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, and Spurs, and Liverpool, by the way, who were sniffing around
Yeah.
a number 9, that is a bit of a strange one. I just feel like Havertz and Jesus, as much as I like them both, mate, I don't think they're clinical enough in front of goal. Havertz proved that at the weekend. Yeah, he scored a brilliant goal, and it was a wonderful goal. And everything about his second chance in that second half is magnificent. The touch, the pace, the strength, but the shot was abysmal. And that's the problem you got with Kai Havertz and with Gabriel Jesus. They're just not in front of goal clinical enough. And I think that might let us down, Chris.
Yeah. I think you're right, but I'm going back to Gabriel Jesus. I just want him to play 10 matches on the trot without getting injured there. I
I
mean,
know.
ever since he's joined people always think I'm harsh, but I'm not harsh. He's never available. Is he? He's never ever
No.
available.
Nah.
And basically, if any Saudi club had come to me in the summer, I would have bitten their hand off. I really would have. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, mate, we're in a position, aren't we, where you really thought like Jesus, this was the year. Arteta comes out, says he's looking sharp, fitter than ever,
No,
he's
I know.
ready. And then bang, he gets injured straight away. This might sound harsh. I think I'm kind of done now. I think I want him gone because the best ability, is availability, and he's never available, is he?
No. So, like here we are, we're going to go into the fixtures from hell in the next 3 years, the fixtures from hell, isn't it? Tottenham, Atlanta, and Man City, and we got no Declan Rice for the North London derby. Well, we haven't got Mourinho. I don't think we'll have Gabriel Jesus. We're going to be depending on players that are like a one knock away from being out for 3 months. I'm so annoyed with this situation again.
Yeah.
And do you think? I mean, do you think Arsenal were worried about PSR during the summer?
I think PSR has actually had more of an effect on the clubs this summer than we think because I haven't seen many clubs going mental this summer. Manchester United that too because they had to bring players in, but they were selling a hell of a lot. Tottenham bought Solanke but didn't do much else. Chelsea, to be fair, bought Pedro Neto and a couple of others, but that's Chelsea. That's just the way they are with what they're doing with their mess. They're selling everyone, buying everyone. Other than that, the clubs that are stable, Liverpool bought Chiesa, nobody else. Arsenal, they didn't sign a striker and a attacking midfielder like everyone said they needed. They didn't go and get a Nico Williams or an Isak or a Tony or Osimhen, Gyökeres. And Manchester City bought Gundogan back on a free and Savio back on loan. That was it.
So I'm thinking about PSR, but then I'm thinking about really it's got to be the biggest mess in the history of football in this country because you got Leicester, who what they did, they changed their accounting dates. They saw a loophole, and now they can't get docked any points. I mean, good luck to them. They're clever. But if Leicester can do that, Dan, what do you think Man City can do with their solicitors? And then on top of that, go back to the transfers that were done on June the 30th. Now, there's an excellent article. I don't remember. I think Villa, Newcastle, and once again Chelsea all had to sell players by a certain date, didn't they? So you had these weird transfers of players you've never heard of going for 20 million, 30 million pounds. And there's an article today in The Athletic. Nearly all those players have either been loaned out, have not had any minutes anywhere. I mean, one of the classic examples of that is the boy Chelsea bought from Leicester, Dewsbury Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Now, at the time, that didn't make sense. There's no way Dewsbury Hall would go from Leicester first team to sitting on the bench at Chelsea. I thought, well, obviously he's going to get a chance. Do you know he's only played in Europa League qualifiers? The whole PSR thing's a mess. And I bet you any money, not only Arsenal, because they like to do things right. You can knock them for that, but they never like to get involved in anything murky when it comes to football finance. So I bet we've had heard of the PSR rules, and basically they're a waste of time. A bit like the fair play, like the financial fair play crap. Do you remember that? It's
Yep.
a mess, Dan. It really
No,
is.
it
The
is,
whole
mate.
football transfer window thing is a complete and utter farce.
Why I agree with that as well, right? And I said this on one of the shows I did the other week. Don't mind people wanting to put in rules to stop Man Cities and Chelsea's going and sponsoring themselves for billions of pounds and going and spending what they want, blah blah blah. That's fine by me. But these new rules they brought in are completely unfair to everyone else that ain't Man City because Man City have got their squad. So let's take Newcastle, for example, who've got
Yeah,
350
good point.
million in the bank. They can't catch up with Man City now because they ain't allowed to spend their money. And I reckon the Arsenal, who are, by the way, not skint like some people are saying, we got a lot of money. We can't now spend it because of PSR. So maybe PSR is having the effect on it more than we're thinking. And that's why the Arsenal ain't gone in for a striker. That's why Liverpool ain't spent willy-nilly. That's potentially why some of the other clubs haven't done madness because Newcastle have had a terrible window, haven't they? You know? I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
It ain't good. It ain't good.
So then everyone's but then Leicester have just blown it out of the water. It's a complete because they've employed some very clever solicitors who found a loophole, and then say la vie, they can't be punished. But I'm saying if Leicester can do that, anyone who's sitting there thinking, "Oh, Man City are going to get done for 115 charges, relegated into the Vauxhall Conference," I can't see it. I bet you any money they do some deal with the football Premier League. Something will happen there.
I've always said that, my bro. I've always said Manchester City will end up being fine because they'll find a loophole or they'll be corrupt and they'll do something to pay them off. I've always believed that. Now, that's if they've done something wrong, by the way. I'm not saying City are guilty, right? If they're not guilty, fair play, crack on and we get on with the game. But if they are guilty and there is something, then they're going to potentially find another loophole. The whole rules are a complete joke and a mess and just scrap them all. Just get rid of it all.
Yeah.
And you know what? Then you just go back to anyone can spend whatever they got. It's your money. You've earned it. You go spend it. And that's how you do it. And you get, because the transfer windows of the last couple of years, to be fair, have been crap, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? They ain't been
Well,
anybody like, it's mad.
I mean, Chelsea, why do they want Jordan Sancho for? How many right wingers can you have? Seriously. They got about 8 goalkeepers down. It's just mad. And then you wonder why. A lot of people. And then you've got all that mess going on, and then on this, and then had the refereeing crap on top of that, which is really. I mean, our ref officials are awful. So you got all that PSR mess, referees, and then you wonder why people get disillusioned. Well, what you
Absolutely.
want last night? I went over the Orient last night. We done a really good performance from the young boys, and they got a penalty, which was never a penalty in the last minute. And I shouted out, "Are you related?" But after a few swear words, well, I said, "Are you related to the referee we had Saturday?" And the Orient bloke said to me, he goes, I used to go to Arsenal." He's saying to me, but he got so disillusioned with the Premier League and all the crap it goes with it. He now goes, "What's his Orient?" He goes, "What happened on Saturday? If that happened on Saturday in that the level of football that Orient are in, the referee would have come over and said, 'Come on, boys, behave yourself,' and just carried on. You know, you wouldn't have a referee trying to be a person. These refs now are like a personality within themselves. I think we've all come to watch them. Well, you're wrong. We come to watch a game of football, not a referee making a stupid decision."
Referees, mate, I don't think there's ever any point in relying on referees. If you're trying to ask them to do you favours, you're in a mess, mate. Because I ain't gonna.
Oh,
PSR and FFP, it's all a load of waffle, as far as I'm concerned. And if Leicester can do that, Chelsea can find loopholes by selling hotels, and Manchester City can go and actually potentially find the loophole in a law that ain't a law, which is what they're trying to find the Premier League for. What a mess we are in. What a
and
mess we are in.
it's good old Arsenal because we're Arsenal and we've got this certain image that we've always got to betray. I bet you any money we played it by the book, and that
Yep.
might be why we've not gone out and strengthened up the all. I mean, I don't know. Someone might be listening to this saying, "Now you're talking a load of rubbish, Arsenal. were well clear of any PSR worries. But I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
I think it's fair to put out there. Let me ask you this then on the flip side of that. If there isn't PSR and Arsenal are fine and we could have gone and spent, do you think the board and the ownership have backed Arteta this summer fully?
Yeah, I don't think Arteta's got any complaints. He's always been, especially in the last couple of years, you can't say he ain't been backed down. I really believe that.
I think this, if you look at this, has he been here 5 years? It's gone quick, isn't it? I think this is his 6th season, so 5 full seasons. I think he's been backed in every window, other than I think he's been left short in this one. Now, what I will say on top of that, however, is if it's Arteta's decision that he don't want a striker and that he wants to promote Ethan Nwaneri, then it's on him as well. I don't know if Mikel Arteta is the person who don't want a striker, or if the board have said we ain't going to be providing any cash to you. They spent 20 million net this summer. I don't know if you saw Turkish's rant on AFTV talking about the Croggies. I couldn't sit there and disagree with what he was saying, because 20 million pounds net to go and win a title, I don't think it's good enough, Chris, if I'm honest.
No, but the thing is, talking about Arteta, this is in this international break. Remember what he was asked about his contract 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah.
So in this international break, this is when he's supposed to be signing his new contract. So that would be interesting, because if he doesn't sign it, I mean, I think he will. So I'll forget that argument. I was saying if he doesn't, is that sending a few alarm bells? But I think he'll sign it actually. But it's supposed to be done in this international break, wasn't it? If you remember, that's what he said.
We'll find out if he's going to, because there's 4 options for me. I said this morning, but I'll say it again with you and see what you think. The first option is he's signed it already, or he's going to sign it and he stays. The second option is he don't, and he waits the end of the season for 2 reasons. The first reason is he doesn't feel like the board and ownership have backed him enough to win a title. The other option is he sits there and he don't do it because 2 years ago he nearly walked because he said that he felt he should underachieved by not winning the league, being 8 points clear. Maybe he goes third time lucky here and don't do it again and thinks, look, I've done all I can. I need to get someone in that's better. And a fourth option, which no one wants to hear, by the way, is that he don't sign it because he's going to be the next City boss after Pep goes after this year. So they're the 4 options. They're the 4 options. I don't know what one you're at. I think he'll stay. I think he'll sign.
Yeah, but I think he'll stay as well. But I'll be interested to see how many years it's for, Dan. I mean, how long do you think it'll be for? 2 years? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 years. Yeah. I don't think it'll be a long-term deal in terms of he'll be here 5, 6, but I don't know, to be honest. I'm really interested, though, to see if he does sign. I'm really interested. But I think he will. I have to say.
Well, I think he will. But the thing is, say hypothetically he didn't. See, the worrying thing is there's not the football world at the moment is not full of managers. I mean, look at Man United are stuck with who they're stuck with. So basically, let's be honest, they couldn't find anyone else.
Mate, he is a disaster as well, isn't he? What a disaster he is. Oh, my God.
But I'll tell you who ain't a disaster, Dan, I'm quite impressed with Liverpool. Not good. I think they're looking, forget the Man United game, they look quite good.
Well, let's come back to that in a minute, because I was going to ask you about Liverpool and Slot, because I think it's a very interesting start for them. So we'll save that, because I was going to end on that. But let's talk about these fixtures, mate, because you and I off air were going, wow, what a disaster. We've got 8 Champions League games now instead of 6. And the way it's fallen, we've got 2 slots of games, which are basically all away from home. We've got, at the moment, Spurs when we get back from the international break away, then Atalanta away, which is on a Thursday night, which is bizarre because I thought Champions League nights were Tuesdays, Wednesdays, but because there's too many games now, they're all over the place. And then obviously at the weekend game, we've then got Manchester City away. Now, if you fast forward to the end of October, we've got Liverpool at home, we've got Newcastle away, Inter Milan away, and Chelsea away. It's incredible. And then you was talking about after Bournemouth to Brighton, we got London away. It's like, it's a madness, Chris, isn't it? Talk to me. What are you thinking?
Well, what I'm thinking is that we can't afford any injuries. That's what I'm thinking, Dan. I mean, See, when you read that out like that, and then it sort of brings home the squad ain't good enough. It's strong enough, is it?
I don't
Because
think so.
he can't. One thing Arteta hates doing, he hates rotating. Really, let's be honest, he don't like rotating, does he? He'll play Saka till his legs falling off. Basically, he'll play Ben. He'll play the same players week in week out. When this is a big tech, because you can't do that with these fixtures. You just can't.
Look, I'm with you. Just want to read the super chat out from Suge, absolute legend, man, one of our members. Thanks for the super chat, mate. He says, let's hit the like, if not for Dan, and for the legend that is Chris Hudson. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. Love for the love. Listen, thank you so much for that, people. Do me a favour. There's over 460 of you in here. Please make sure you hit the like button. We've not even hit 100 likes yet, so let's get over 100 at least. Let's get towards 250, please, people. Legends. Chris, look, I'm going to be honest with you about the fixtures. I wanted this season to take all 4 cups seriously, both domestic cups, Champions League and the league. Looking at that squad, I don't think we can, mate. I don't think we can.
Unfortunately, see a lot of people saying, "Oh, let's put any old trophy on the sideboard." So you're going to our squad ain't good enough to win all 4, and let's face it, it may not be good enough to win 1. So I don't know. I can't answer that, but it does bring home the fact to me that the 2 young boys in the squad will be getting it. Will be getting game time. I repeat, you can't be playing lip service because they're in the squad. They've got to play, and it's a massive test of Arteta. You know, is when he's going to play out. Who's he going to rotate? He'll have to. I mean, let's go through the next 3 games. What are you expecting? I'll tell you what. I'll take a draw at Tottenham, and the only reason I'm saying that is because after the international break, with no Rice, we got no Mourinho, and I think the last time they beat us was when they pipped us. We finished 5th, and they come 4th. That was the infamous game when Cedric gave that penalty away. Do you remember? And Rob Holding got sent off.
I was there, mate.
So, just for the law of averages, let's say we don't win there, but then I'll be looking to win in Atlanta, and then the Man City game. I don't know, Dan, but you know we got a 0-0 there last year. I'll bite your hand off for that again. You know.
I personally feel. Is there a bad echo on my audio, Mike?
No.
No. Okay, mate. For me, what I'm looking at is Tottenham to be 3 points. I'm looking at Manchester City to be a point at least, but I want to beat them over there. And I think we might have to potentially rotate massively in that Atlanta fixture. I think we might have to look at potentially looking at Calafiori, Kivior. Maybe we bring in like Timber, Zinchenko, Jorginho, these sort of people, Martinelli, Sterling, because we can't have our best team playing all 3 of them, mate. It's ridiculous. Apparently there is something wrong with my audio. Apologies, people. I'll try and have a look at it. But that's what I think, Chris. I think we've got to be looking at. We want 6 points. We've got to get 4 at least from them 2. And I don't know if we've got the squad to rotate, mate. It's going to be tough, isn't it?
But the fact that that statement you just said, I don't think we got the squad to rotate, mainly because we've got 2 injuries. Tommy Asu, so we're talking about because we got no Jesus, no Mourinho, and Rice is out. So we're 3 players missing, and the squad ain't good enough. Wrong, isn't it?
Unfortunately, mate, we're in a position where we're quite weak, I think. I think it is my audio, by the way. If I can hear like a pigeon in the background or an echo or something, but there we go. Sorry, people. I'll try and sort it out. But listen, we're in a sounds like a washing machine in the background. Yeah, it does. Listen, I honestly believe it's we're in a position where we're going to have to look at rotating. And there are some positions we can rotate with. Calafiori, for example, Timber, obviously Zinchenko at the back.
what we could do is, I mean, we desperately need Jesus to be fit, don't we?
Yeah.
Definitely for the Atlantic. Declan Rice to be back for that. So I think you could get. I think we can get a result in Italy. It's the two league games. You know,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
quite awkward.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult. It really is. It is something to do with my audio. Apologies, people. I don't know why it's happening. I can't get. I can't. Not much I can do about that, I'm afraid. But listen, to close the show, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this title race. Now, I know it's a stupid thing to bring up with only a few games in. Manchester City look stronger. Liverpool don't look weaker, even though Klopp's gone. And Arsenal, at the moment, I think potentially have left themselves a little bit short. Where are you at with the title race?
Obviously, Man City. Obviously, Liverpool. Thing is, if you remember this time last year, we weren't exactly on fire this time last year, was we? It was only
No.
from Christmas onwards that we really put the foot down. So where I'm at is if we go this, if we're 3 or 4 points off the top going into January, I think that's got to be our aim, and hope for a really good second half of the season. We might look at the market again in January. Who knows? Nanweri and might played a few games by then. It'd be a nice added bonus. So you know, I still think we're going to be in it. But also, I think you got. I know we won there the other week, but I'll keep an eye on Villa down. Good bit of damage. I do like.
Yeah, Villa are looking good, man.
That's
Can't
where
lie.
I am. Really. It's where we are in January, Dan.
Mm. Yeah, Villa looked really good. I thought against us they were really good, I must say. I thought they were exceptional. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Aston Villa could have a sneaky chance of competing with Champions League. I don't see them in a title race. Liverpool are the ones who
Yeah, not
stop playing
winning it. No.
football, really good football. And yeah, I'm quite impressed by them. However, Liverpool, have they really had a massive test yet? I don't know if they have. I think the teams they've played, Ipswich, Brentford, and Man United, who look terrible, by the way. I think it would
Thing
be
is,
interesting
Dan,
to see where they go.
have Man City had a big test? They played
Chelsea
Chelsea, who
and
were a
West
mess.
Ham away. Yeah,
West Ham, West Ham were pathetic against them. Really, they really were. You know,
yeah,
no, I mean, I'll start the season. I suppose people listen to this: Wolves at home, Villa away hard, Brighton at home, no one's mugs, followed by the North London derby and Man City in your first 5 games.
yeah.
So that's a hard start. If we come through all this, the silver. I mean, you can say to yourself, well, if we come through these next 5 games undefeated, I mean, we ain't doing that bad, Dan. I'll tell you. There's a big if, mate.
It is a big if, but you're right. We get through against Tottenham. Let me just do me a favour. Let me just put you on mute while I talk. While I'm talking, has that stopped the echo? Can someone let me know in the chat if that stopped the echo? Because it might be some echo I'm getting off of Chris's mic. If you can let me know in the chat if I'm no longer echoing, then I think that's what it is. So yes, okay, that's what it is. Okay, cool. I thought it might have been. Sorry, Chris, to put you on mute while I talk from now on. But you just remember you are muted. But listen, I think we're in a situation where the games we have coming up will tell us actually quite a lot, because it's easy to look at this negatively, in it. It's easy to worry. I understand why people want to worry. I understand why people potentially want to say, oh my God, if we lose to Spurs and we lose to Manchester City, we're 8 points behind already. And unfortunately, that's title over. But actually, when you look at it, we could be, after them games, we could potentially be absolutely fine and be right up with Manchester City if we beat both these games. So you've got to sometimes look at both sides of the coin. You've got to look at it and say, yeah, Arsenal can't afford to lose both these games. But my goodness, if we win them both, we've shut everybody up who thinks that we're in the bloody top 4 and we're in all this stuff. So for me, you have got to look at it positively as well. I think we have to go to Tottenham and take the game to them. We can get behind them at that high line. I think likewise at Manchester City, I don't think we should go and show them an unbelievable amount of respect like we do and sit back and try and keep a 0-0. I sometimes like to see us go for it, Chris. So, what's your thoughts going into both of these ones, and how do you see them both playing out, mate? You have to put yourself on unmute, mate. You have to unmute yourself. Sorry, mate.
Tottenham away. It's only because the international breakdown. I want to know what sort of what state are we in? The internationals. Let's assume that touchwood, everyone's come back okay. At the two league fixtures, obviously you go to win at Tottenham, and I'll take a draw at Man City. But I'm erring on the side of caution. I'll take two draws. Sorry.
Well, I mean, look, we're in a position where two draws, it would be very disappointing, in my opinion, because we've gone to two huge games. We haven't been able to win either of them. And I think the mentality at Arsenal this season has to be looked at, and I want to see improvements. What I mean by that is go to Villa Park and win. All of a sudden, not only is that a great result, you could see it lifted us, and mentally we looked a hell of a lot stronger because we've gone to a place where we've struggled against Unai Emery, where we've struggled, and we've taken 3 points. I think if we continue to do what we did last season at Spurs and win there, and we can take a win at the Etihad, for me, I look at it and it is a win-win-win in three reasons. It's because we've beaten our rivals who we think we're going to be in a title race with. We've gone to the Etihad and we've taken 3 points. And mentally, we've told the world that we can beat Manchester City at their place. And I always remember what Paul Scholes said a couple of weeks ago. I remember years and years ago at Old Trafford, Mark Overmars scored 1-0 in 98. We beat him at Old Trafford. I remember Sylvain Wiltord scoring to win us the league. That was at Old Trafford. I remember seeing games where we've gone two big moments in games like at Anfield over the years in 89, and we've won there. And I kind of feel like if we want to get across the line against these big boys, yeah, it's great not to lose there because that can affect you as well. But I honestly believe if we went there and won, I think the world would then look at Arsenal and go, wow, okay, fair play. I think they've got an unbelievable opportunity, Chris. So that's why, look, I want 6 points. I'd take 4 points, but I do badly want to beat Man City. So if you had to take four, I'd probably draw Spurs and beat Man City. Hit that way around, if you get me. Sorry, you're on mute, mate.
Yeah, I'll take that then. I mean, out of the two of them, I mean, beating Man City would be issuing a bit of a statement, wouldn't it? Really, let's face it. And yeah, I'll take in that case. I'll take a draw at Tottenham, but I'll just have to wait. It's how I am, Dan. I'll just have to wait and see what happens, mate.
No, listen, you're absolutely fair, and I can understand why people are waiting to the international break. All I will say, my goodness, if we get Party injured or lo and behold Timber gets injured, something like that, we are in a right mess. So I am praying, and I'm touching the desk here because it's lucky wood here to say, please, no more injuries. I can't face it if I'm honest. It'll be absolute disaster. One thing I will say, just lastly, is I think with Trossard and Martinelli on that left-hand side, a lot of people have think that Sterling's come in to potentially be that kind of replacement for backup for Saka. Do you think he could play and start on the left for us for the next few weeks?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
I think Arteta will do that. I think he'll throw him in the North London derby. I really believe that.
Wow. Wow. I mean, people have not thought about that. He could start on the left for us with Saka on the right.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. It would. And I'll tell you something. That'd be. Imagine what he'd be. He'd be right up for the Man City game and all, wouldn't he, Sterling? Imagine that.
Massive. Absolutely buzzing for it, wouldn't he? And I'll say lastly, before we close, this left-hand side, I am gutted about this Marino injury, just for the pure fact that Marino on that left, Calafiori left back, and then potentially Sterling, Trossard or Martinelli on the left. I would really wanted to see that sustainability on that left-hand side because for me, the right-hand side is set. But the left-hand side, I remember speaking to you about this before, it looks a bit of a mess. Do you think we'll start to see that? I mean, when Marino comes back, there's an opportunity for Calafiori to have got that place set in stone by then at left back. Hopefully, we'll know what's going on at the left wing with Sterling, Trossard, or Martinelli, and that surely will allow our left-hand side, potentially Martinelli, to flourish. Did you get that, mate?
No, you're freezing, Dan.
Can you hear me now, mate?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah, I think that's where Martinelli is suffered because the left hand side is so what's the word? Inefficient.
Mm.
And I think Martinelli suffers for that. But I wouldn't mind seeing Martinelli moved into the middle. That's an option for me.
I've said this, man. I've said there's an opportunity for that.
I like to, but yeah, that's up to Arteta. You know, it might sort of put Martinelli's career back where it should be because I am getting a bit worried about him actually because there's something not right with him, is there? But if he could get pushed back into the middle, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, look, when Unai Emery played him there, he was scoring goals. But Trossard and Martinelli, there is a kind of
Yeah,
up
he
in the
was.
air at the moment, you know. So look, there's an opportunity for Martinelli down the middle for sure. Look, let me throw this super chat in before we do close. I'm just going to put you on mute, Chris, because they're saying they can hear a bit of a background noise again for some reason. Sorry, mate. Matt, big up yourself, bro. Southern Gooner in the house. Make sure you go follow the Southern Gooner people, one of the legends out there. Definitely got our work cut out for us this season. Edu has done us no favours for us this past window. I agree with Chris. Run Martinelli through the middle. Now, for me, there's an opportunity here. If he is going to play Havertz in midfield, which I just feel like he's going to do against Spurs, I don't want him to, but I feel like he is. There's an opportunity for Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka with Sterling from the bench or even Sterling starting. But there's definitely a chance for them to switch it around a bit. Trossard go down the middle, Martinelli go down the middle, potentially Sterling. There's opportunities for him to switch it around. And that is one good thing about Havertz being out of the picture for a couple of games. I quite like Havertz in the 9, I must say. I don't think he's the one I want all the time. But I think if he is to be brought out of there, at least we might see a little bit something different in the front three, whether it be Trossard, who played very well in the 9. If you remember a couple of seasons ago, he was phenomenal there. And Martinelli, who, like we say, Unai Emery, he played him down the middle, and we haven't seen him there since. And if it ain't working from on the left, maybe try it through the middle. So that could be something that we go with. But just lastly, Chris, do you think Havertz could play in midfield against Tottenham? I just got a bad feeling that could happen, mate.
He could do, but I hate him in midfield. Remember, I think the last time we played him there in the Villa game at home last year, and that was an unmitigated disaster. So yes, he can, but B, I hope he doesn't. Going back to Martinelli, I'll tell you who have been playing him as a centre forward, though, is Brazil. They played him as a number through the middle, didn't they? But I don't think he's been called up for the latest international break. But Brazil tried it, and I'm not too sure how well he did there.
No, I think Martinelli is an option for sure to get down on the centre as well. Listen, Chris, we're going to leave it there, man. You've been a legend. Big up to everybody for being here. Make sure you do me a favour.
All right, freezing up.
The like button. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for all of your super chats and, of course, your comments. I'll be back later on at 8 p.m. this evening for This Is London. Please make sure you're following Chris Hudson on all social media. And we will see you next time, people. Take care.